everybody, and welcome to another edition of 18 Minutes with 180 Markets. Well, friends, gold. Gold continues to rally, and the number one question we are getting here is how to take advantage. Well, today we are rejoined again by an old friend, Amanda Buckingham, Managing Director of Warriedar Resources. And Warriedar is in such a sweet spot because it's large enough to matter, approaching 2 million ounces of gold, but at the same time, small enough to have massive capital price appreciation. And here to talk all about Warriedar and what's ahead for 2025, Amanda, welcome back.
Thanks, Greg. It's great to be back speaking to you today.
Great. Hey, Amanda, one thing people know about Warriedar is that you are active. And now here we are, we're filming in January of 2025. Maybe tell us a little bit about the next 6 months. What is in store for us as investors?
Look, Greg, you're on the money there. We are always very active. We spend our money in the ground. There's actually never a quiet day at Warriedar, much to my team's horror. But no, we started back on site last week. And so we are an easy drive, 6 hours drive north of Perth. We have a great setup. Our team was back on site, continuing to look for some antimony pulps in our old storage. But more importantly, if we look at the year ahead, so we
Right,
raised money at the end of last year. And what that did is it allowed us to plan properly and to lay out, in particular, the first 6 months of this year. And what that will involve is drilling, drilling, drilling. Now, I'm not shy about saying our focus is on resource growth, resource extension, the definition of hopefully a few new areas of gold, but importantly, we need to continue growing our significant gold resources in WA because that underpins everything. To have optionality, to have choices, to make the most in terms of our pathway, we need the
right.
best possible resource. And we have actually next week, I can't wait. We have a full day strategy meeting with the entire team where we actually define the exact programs. And so,
Right.
yeah, we'll be back out in February drilling with a goal to really push these resources ahead.
Yeah. And I mean, also along that line, and you alluded to it before, from a capital position, you are in fantastic shape. How much less pressure does it put on the company to just have to know that the balance sheet is in order?
It's a considerable improvement in terms of how we can plan, strategize, and execute. We're not, we're not in that yo-yo phase where we raise a little, we execute one program, but we can't plan. Like I can look at our year ahead and I can devise with the geoscience team the programs that we need to execute, and I can know that we have the funds to actually deliver. And that is really important in terms of mineral exploration. You can't, there's a whole sequence of events that have to flow perfectly, a lot of
Sure.
planning. So we are really well set up to actually deliver on what our goals are this year by virtue of being funded.
Right. And talk to us a little bit about the Golden Range, that project, because for investors that are not familiar, this is very, very exciting.
Yeah, sure. So Golden Range, it ticks a few very important boxes for me in terms of a gold project that you would want to invest in. So firstly, it has an existing solid resource. So we now have 1.3 million ounces of gold at Golden Range, and that includes a 58% increase in the resource that we achieved last year. Now, we did that by doubling Ricardo, the largest of our deposits in the main belt. So we have an existing solid resource of 1.3. Most of that is in a high confidence category. So 44% of that resource is measured and indicated, which is fantastic. So it's not
Right.
just a sort of unknown, it's a very well controlled and well understood set of gold deposits. We
Right.
also own the entire central belt. So, in terms of scale potential and the opportunity to discover new deposits or more gold, it's a fantastic scale opportunity. Our deposits are all on mining leases. We have our own mill. All the deposits are connected by a well-conditioned haul road that goes back to our mill. So in terms of a pathway to development, we have the infrastructure that we need for a a quick and cost-effective restart. Now, we also sit in an area where we are surrounded by long-life, deep-tapping gold and base metal mines. And why that's important is that there are many examples of success immediately around us. So
Right.
we are in a great area, excellent infrastructure, tier one world-class gold province, an existing resource, and plenty of upside. So yeah, there's a lot to be excited about at Golden Range.
Right. And let's not forget, there has been a lot of M&A activity. It surely is going to continue as companies are cashed up. And as you said, it's not just having the resource, it's also having that infrastructure, which really does bring into the development
Mm.
a a real pathway, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, our approach, we are designing our programs and we are looking ahead with the view to be a standalone operation. But you're right, M&A activity in our region is certainly interesting, and we're always looking at what's happening around us.
Yeah. Hey, Amanda, I know that, as you mentioned, the program is not established yet for 2025, but based on your historical, you've drilled thousands and thousands of meters, should investors expect some pretty heavy drilling activity again in the next 6 months?
Absolutely. And I'll actually I'll just correct that slightly. The programs are all established, but we've got our
Okay.
day to actually
Sorry.
I guess no, you're right. I guess rank and approve and just finalize the like
Okay.
what we did over Christmas. Of course, we all had a good break. But this period, like January, is the best time to plan. So we planned all the programs, and now we're going to just work out what order we execute them in. That's probably what our strategy meeting is most about. But our programs will be heavily focused on drilling. And the reason for that, and I should stress, like drilling is the ultimate truth detector. It's also the most expensive thing you can do. So you
Of
need to make
course.
sure you've got all the data leading up to drilling. But we're in a fortunate position. We have all the data. We've done all the analysis. We have areas, particularly in our Golden Corridor, which is our key focus area, where we know what is controlling the high grade shoots. We know where to drill to add mineable ounces, and we just need to go out and execute. And I'm not saying it's easy. You don't get
Of course.
every program doesn't deliver, perfect gold. But I think I'd say comfortably, every program improves your understanding of a particular deposit. Like Ricardo, last year we
Yes.
had 3 or 4 separate programs. And as we moved on, each program was a little better than the last, in particular, having a diamond rig and drilling deeper. So this year, we'll use everything we learnt from last year, really refine the programs as best as possible, but we'll be back out drilling in February. We love nothing more than having a rig on site and having those assays roll in.
Yep, absolutely. And also, as you said, you increased the resource last year 58%. Are some of the learnings from that period, can they help you in 2025 as well?
Oh, look, absolutely. I'd say it's very interesting. Like we took on this project at the beginning of 2023, and even though we had done all our DD and we knew it was a great project, but until you work a project for a year, I'd say, you don't have that in-depth understanding of all the different aspects that need to be right to know where to stick the hole. So for example, knowing what the alteration looks like, what the controls are on the high grade shoots, where even some pit optimization work that we had done, we have a really good understanding of which resources are most economic now, where the
Right.
high grade parts are, which deposits are very open in terms of strike extent or depth. And we're pretty comfortable that almost every one of our 6 deposits in the Golden Corridor has depth and strike extensions possible. And the reason for that, and I'll just
Yeah.
divert shortly, the previous owner of this project, they were mining the shallow oxide gold, but they had no real interest in the fresh rock extensions. And so when we took on the project, there was hardly any deep drilling. I think the average drilling depth was, I think from memory, 42 meters. And we know
Very
that the
shallow.
deposit's very shallow. And there's great examples of economic, fantastic long life mines in this region that tap. Mount Magnet, they're mining at 1,500 meters below ground.
Right.
Who knows, maybe all our deposits go that deep, maybe they don't, but we're certainly going to find out.
Right. And is that also, I mean, sometimes the pushback may be that the grades, when they see, 1.72 types of 2.0 types of grams per ton. Now, offsetting that is obviously A, the increase of gold price, but B, is it also the fact that you can potentially have that increasing of depth and extensions?
Yeah, definitely. So our real focus at the moment, particularly with this program moving forward into 25, we want to really improve our open cut resource. Like we've got these pits that we can do pit cutbacks on. So we're focused on adding ounces within a sort of open cut scenario. But what we also want to do is, yes, 2 grams per tonne is not a fantastic underground grade, but we wanted to put out a first pass underground resource
Right,
at Ricardo. We now know where to drill to actually refine and follow those high grade shoots. In a way, you can think of it as being a little bit uncertain and fuzzy at the moment. We wanted to de-risk further exploration and drilling at Ricardo by first showing that those high grade shoots exist and that they extend, but we didn't want to over drill last year. We're very
right,
comfortable now that we know the high grade shoots are there. So we will go back in, refine and improve our understanding of that resource. And with that work, we expect the grade to increase. And that'll be a really exciting journey to follow those high grade shoots. We'd like to at least put 1 or 2 deeper holes into Ricardo the first half of this year.
okay.
And that'll be magic.
Yeah, so investors should look out for that then.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it's a careful balance. Like there are extension holes,
Sure.
there's different categories of holes. We want to improve the resources, we want to extend them, and also chase the high grade shoots and improve that grade.
Right. Now, also, you mentioned a couple of times Ricardo. Ricardo keeps on delivering. Uh, Taking a little bit of a turn here, and not to take away from the gold, but antimony, and I believe as we're filming, there was an announcement out this morning on Ricardo and antimony. Can you just talk to us a little bit about that?
Certainly. So antimony is something we discovered with the gold. I'm guessing it was about August, September last year. We
Right.
got some really great gold assay results back. And the geo rang me, our head geo, and said, something very interesting with this gold. There's really high grade antimony. And I think the best grade we got was 28.5%. But even we got an interval that was 13 meters at 6% antimony. Now, that is quite remarkable. If you think of Australia's only producing antimony mine, Costerfield, the reserve grade, I believe, is 1.3, and the resource grade maybe 1.9 or 3. But having those high grade results at our Ricardo deposit made us realize we really have to look at this opportunity. And the
Okay.
reason it's an opportunity, it will not detract from our gold story at all. It's a
Right.
complete add on. All it does is improve the economics of mining. And also, we know that our fresh rock gold needs flotation. The way you process antimony, it also needs flotation. So it's a very similar processing stream. But I'd like to say to our investors, look, we are not there's no pivoting from gold. We have a really solid gold story that remains our focus, but there's no reason we can't explore antimony on the side. And if it improves our economics and makes our shareholders more money, then fantastic.
Right. Hey, Amanda, we have to keep it short right now, unfortunately, but we wanted to get onto you in the beginning of this year because, as you said, it's going to be an ex very exciting year. And again, we also think that you're in that sweet spot of you're big enough where you're attracting money, you're attracting investors, but you're also small enough where the share price can have that multiple home run type of effect. If in closing, if there are 1 or 2 points you want everybody, investor or potential investor, to know about Warriedar, what would they be?
We have some incredible opportunities, and I would like to surprise the market with a few releases this year that were unexpected, some results that just knock your socks off. But importantly, we now, with us being funded, having doubled our main resource last year, so we've proven what we can do. We plan
Yes.
to continue that from a position of strength to be really proactive in Southern Murchison. And I can't wait to just surprise investors with some delightful results at various times, in particular, the first 6 months of this year.
Great. Amanda, thank you very much. We're really looking forward to it.
Thanks, Greg. That was wonderful.
Bye bye.
Bye.